Hello, everybody. Welcome to the November Q&A. I am joined by many of the other allies, and this is a $20 up tier on Patreon. If you would like to send in a question for December, the holiday prime time, go to patreon.com/easyallies where you can find out more information. But our first question for November is from, of course, Alexander Zirinov. You guessed it. Hello, allies. Each of you produced if each of you produced a no commentary gameplay video and uploaded it to Easy Allies Plays, and there wasn't any description, but the audience quickly figured out who had played each game, what would give you away?
Oh.
Bloodworth would easily be checking absolutely every single item in every room.
True. Most kills, most deaths.
Brad or Huber, you could narrow it down to the two of them, would check the settings 30 seconds after beginning the game. Like they would go out, walk, move the camera, and they'd be like, wait. And they'd go into the settings.
Yeah,
and
that's
change,
true.
Slower attacks would rule me out. Like if it's a game where you choose how you're attacking, it wouldn't be me doing that.
Oh
Towers.
yeah, that would be a
Towers
good one for me.
Just starts climbing something right away.
Hunting for them, just like, where are they?
If I'm using a big ass sword, that's how you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to walk or go onto something you're not supposed to in the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Huber.
Damiani would be doing something irritating, like trying to break through the walls right away.
My
Huber,
game is
Valhalla
explaining a
has-
mechanic and I'm doing something else.
Valhalla has
Yeah.
two-handed swords, right? Like Sigurd has
Yeah.
the big great sword. Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yeah, dude.
Waiting on that.
Yes.
I think I was thinking you guys took it in a much more interesting direction, like talking about behavior and stuff, because I was thinking particular game, and I'd be like, well,
Right.
you know it's me because it's fucking Monster Hunter. Like that's what I'm playing.
Yeah.
Our next question comes in from Mike Hook. Hey, allies, what is your favorite Thanksgiving side dish, and does your version of it differ from the norm? For example, I love stuffing, but what I really love is a little sausage in my stuffing. That is
Ooh.
that's a very sensual sentence.
Yeah.
Pounding a little sausage in my stuffing is where it's at. Okay, Mike Hook picked up on that as well. All right, great.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I love stuffing as
Stuffing.
well, but
Stuffing, baby.
mine has to be dairy free. So vegan stuffing, I
Just
guess.
get that gravy all over that stuffing.
Mashed potatoes
Yeah.
and gravy for me by a
Mashed
mile.
potatoes.
Yeah,
baby,
mashed
My
potatoes is mine as
favorite.
well.
Mashed potatoes, yeah.
The goat.
I
Loved
think
when
Vegan mashed potatoes.
I think what makes mine a little bit beyond the norm is like I put an excessive amount of mashed potatoes on my plate, and I've had family members comment like, "Hey, what's
Oh,
going on?
shit.
Like, why is like half your plate?"
You okay?
potatoes?" Yeah.
it goes with everything else. Like I'm not a big pea fan. I don't like peas, but
That's hilarious because one of the things we always make is a crunchy pea salad.
but if you got mashed potatoes, it just makes it work. I was like, oh,
Mm.
get some peas in those mash, and
green
that'll do it.
bean what is it? Green
Casserole.
bean
Yeah, yeah.
casserole with the
Yeah.
French onions. That's got dairy, so I have to take pills for that, but oh, I love that.
pills.
Yeah,
are good.
our pea salad has dairy too, sour cream.
Milk
The first-
pills.
The first time I had Amanda's mashed potatoes, I was like, wow, these are really good. What's your secret? She's like, I put way too much butter in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Butter.
Oh,
There
yes.
you go.
Butter's the
So-
killer, man. That
so
sneaks
simple.
up on
Oh,
me.
Yeah.
hey, speaking of Thanksgiving, can I get a where do the allies stand on deviled eggs?
Oh, deviled eggs are great, man.
Yeah.
I don't
Heck
eat
yeah.
eggs, so I've never had one.
No, thank you.
It's been so long since I've tried it for the first time. I don't
Yeah, I haven't had
remember.
any in a
I
while.
have to have it again.
My
It
mom
was just
sent
like
me
one
a
of those
meme.
things that like I would always just like sneak a couple of when my mom was making them for like potluck or something. I'd have to get them while she was making them.
My mom sent me a meme of Baby Yoda crying, and it said, "When someone eats the last deviled egg, and you only had 7."
Yes.
It happens.
All right.
Shout out to Ben too, who is doing the Q&A today and the
Shout
Goat stream
out.
tonight. Shout out to Ben.
There's a Ben
Shout
a lot of streaming,
out.
a lot of streaming today. for
Shout
Ben
out.
Moore.
Good job, Ben.
I am in the absolute best mood right now because
Yeah.
I was just like, I just want to sit down and listen to some music, and I put on Metallica's "Killin' All," which is a very important album to me, and I just it just like it transformed my day. Like I feel like I'm fucking glowing from listening to that. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. But thank you guys. That was very kind. Our next question comes in from James, who says, "Hi, allies. First of all, I want to throw out a couple of hot takes that may be disagreeable or controversial.
Nice.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a more is more an addiction than a pleasurable experience.
Truth.
All right.
Truth.
Ghost Runner is unfair at stealth, and its length is prolonged by its difficulty. Also, thank you for recommending Wintermore Tactics Club, Huber. As you say, it's so cozy and is also lovely and endearing.
Sick.
This month, I want to ask you about your thoughts of these forgotten PS2 games and what do you think they should return in some form or fashion. Really interesting list here. Let's just get a quick yes or no, like gut reaction from the allies. Ninja.
Ooh, yeah, I
I
remember that.
Ninja,
Sure.
dude.
I don't
I
even know
played
what
it in
that
the
is.
weirdest way possible, though.
I've never played it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
I
know what it is.
had it was when we had when we got our GameCube debug. Somehow or another, I ended up with a preview build of it, so it was like unfinished and it was like totally full of bugs, like more than what you'd normally get a preview build for nowadays.
I think somebody did a showcase post about that too. So
I have actually never played that. I was getting it confused with Mini Ninjas.
Yeah, very
Remember that
different.
one?
Oh.
Yeah.
Loved that one.
Yeah,
Mark of the Ninja.
I've never played Ninja. There was a lot of enthusiasm there that I wasn't expecting. Maximo. This is my big yes.
Maximo.
of the
Oh,
list.
yeah,
I
Maximo.
really
I've
Yeah,
always
it is.
missed it. I'd like to play it someday.
I never
Yeah,
played that one either.
it's a really interesting game. Great style to it.
Yeah.
Good humor. Yeah,
if Medieval came back, bring it back.
it was a good interpretation of Ghosts and Goblins, like taking that in a new
3D,
direction. I really liked that. I didn't play the sequel though.
No, neither did
didn't
I.
play-
I heard it wasn't as good.
Yeah, I didn't
but-
play the sequel. Haven Call of the King. I don't know what that is.
Don't know.
I do
I'm
not know
familiar
that.
with that, and yeah, not a lot of love for it.
Hurdy-gurdy.
I feel like I've possibly heard of that.
Vaguely
Yeah, I haven't
sounds
heard of it. I
familiar.
feel bad.
I can think of the cover art for it, but another one I haven't played.
Yeah.
Psyops: The Mindgate Conspiracy.
Sure.
Psyops, dude. Yep.
It's like the South
a
Park
humor
episode,
game.
like me, ba 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 ba. You just do that the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like there's a cult following for that, but I haven't played it myself.
Second Sight. So this is one I actually did play, and I
think I played this.
remember it was forever ago, so my memory's very hazy, but I remember struggling with the controls in Second Sight. I remember it feeling a little bit clunky. I don't know if I would fare better now, but yeah. A Dog's Life.
I don't know what that is. but
So
it
I
sounds
think-
fun.
movie?
So I think A
No.
Dog's
Yeah.
Life.
No,
I think
obviously not.
Is this Nintendo?
I think they did A Dog's Life. If it's the game I'm thinking of, I think they did A Dog's Life at a GDQ, and it has a hilariously messed up story where at the end you like turn a woman into dog food.
Nice.
So if you could do
Okay.
like a crazy story like that, like yes, I'd be into it. Chaos Legion.
Know the name,
that one.
don't
Never
remember
played
what it is.
Yeah, didn't play it either. Dr. Muto, another one I didn't play.
Oh, yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, I never really got into that.
Crash Bandicoot vibes, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah, bring it back,
Yes.
dude. Bring it back.
Obviously.
Someone streamed that, I think.
I think we tried to, like, me and Kyle or something at a point.
I remember something like that. Yeah.
It's a Kyle Jam.
Next question comes in from Volkman. Hey, allies, I'm not American, so pardon me if this is obvious to you, but why is it Jones, Blood, Damiani, and Huber, but Ian, Ben, Don, and Brad?
Yeah.
I love this question. What makes
I
you
like this too.
It's
address
madness.
someone by their first or last name respectively, and is this how everyone calls you, or is this only within the allies?
There's got to be a rhyme or reason to it, but it just sounds wrong.
Right.
You know, calling you Ellis, like no,
Mhm.
No,
it just
yeah,
doesn't fit.
Right.
Just like anytime someone calls
more?
Huber Mike,
Like,
I'm like,
no.
fucking who?
No.
Okay, but
I call
like,
them both. I do both.
yeah,
of mine.
yeah.
I
I
think Huber's
definitely
on the
hear Brad
fence.
say both, and that makes sense. to me.
Brad gets that's the thing. I think it depends on when you met someone and in what context. Because like Brad's known Mike their whole lives, and like
Yeah.
when you're a little kid, you're not Huber.
Right.
But when you're like meeting some dude who's like college age or higher, and your last name is so percussive like
yeah.
Huber, and you're
so that's it. I think
personality
being
like that.
percussive is a big
Well,
part of it.
But like Damiani is like, oh yes, of course. But like Bloodworth is like too many syllables. Too many.
Right.
Gotta call him Blood. Too much.
Mhm.
Why bother? And I love when
blood is
Yeah.
obviously self-evident. Like
But I
that's
love
just
when
two
I'm
bad
hanging out
guys.
with my brother and somebody says Jones. We're both like, yeah, wait, no, I'm Jones. You're not. I'm Jones.
Mhm.
You're Chris. Get out of here.
Like more, the is just it just doesn't feel right. You know, it doesn't feel.
Plus, it's a word.
Yeah. It just
I
doesn't.
like
No.
yours is my favorite to say your whole name though. Ben,
Ben
Moore.
Moore.
Ben
Yeah.
Moore.
Ben Moore.
Well,
Yeah.
it's so funny because my preference, and it's not a big deal, but my preference is when people just say Ben. But when I read stuff talking about the allies, it's always like, oh man, I love Jones, Blood, Damiani, Huber, and Ben Moore, and it's like I'm the only Ben in the group, but people do that all the time. Yeah.
Shout out to Elise Willems though as well. Before Frame Trap was a thing at Game Trailer, said that if you did have a show Ben, it should be called Get More.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
good.
Moore.
That
Funny.
is good.
I like
Elise has a knack for that. That's a really good name.
Yeah, so yeah, I think Kyle and Brandon are the ones that got the most like interchange. Like people go either way,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and like just not even for any reason. It's like
Mhm.
I'll say Brandon, I'll say Jones, whatever.
Kyle is definitely a scenario where it was like he's Bossman in like normal settings, but when you're like upset with him, he's
Yeah.
Kyle.
Well, Kyle is the person. Bossman is the idea.
Is the idea. Yeah. Is the brand.
Yeah.
I have a question, and I am genuinely curious because I see this quite a bit from German fans, not just within Easy Allies, but of other things. They tend to say "greetings from Germany," like it's like
Hello.
they make a note of it, and I just find that fascinating. So I wonder
Yeah.
why that is. I like it a lot. I'm just curious if that's just like a cultural thing or something. I truly don't know.
What's interesting is no one calls Don by his last name either, even though that's epic.
Casanova's a pretty good.
Casanova's
Casanova,
good, but it's a
though,
little too long, I think.
But it also has like a societal connotation. Like
Sure.
a Casanova is like a ladies' man, kind of a
Mhm.
And Don's not.
Don's not a womanizer in my experience.
Now we
He's a
know
family
of.
man.
He's a very tender lover.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's funny for me because that's different. I get different circles, people, so like I
Mhm.
have a lot of circles that will call me Blood or Bloodworth, and then I have other people that will call me Daniel. And sometimes
Dan.
if I'm in the wrong,
Dan
yeah,
the
and then there's
man.
that,
When
yeah, there's
people call
that
you
weird pocket of
Dan,
people that call me
yeah.
Dan.
I
Freaks me
yeah,
out.
I would
dude.
say
Dan pocket.
freaks me out is the best way to describe it. Absolutely.
I
But it's
cannot
funny
handle
because
Dan.
it's depending on the person and what I'm used to hearing from them. If I hear the other thing,
Mm.
like, if I'm in the wrong context and somebody calls me Bloodworth, I'm like, what? Did you, what, since when did you call me that? Or there even be times where it's like, I can kind of pick out the people that like actually listen to Easy Allies stuff because they're around a group of people that call me Daniel,
Mhm.
and then they'll call me Blood.
One of my favorite
Ah.
new Easy Allies things, like new Easy Allies fan things, is when somebody calls Huber Hubert.
I love
Yeah.
that.
That's
it's-
been an ongoing thing.
It is-
Everybody thinks it's Hubert.
It is the
Everybody.
best. It warms my soul. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hubert.
I was just thinking, I think a lot of reason people I know call Mike Mike is growing up, his mom would be like, his name is Michael if we called him
Yeah.
other things all the time.
Yeah.
So I think it just kind of stuck after a while.
Yeah.
But once you like got away from all that, you just became Huber more.
Yeah.
His
Yeah, my
name
mom-
is Michael.
Hubermore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always trying to correct.
I remember
people.
his mom saying that a lot.
Yep.
The village of Hubermore.
Our next question comes in from Master Pants. Hey, Easy Allies, I'm looking for some expert video gamer advice. I've tried a few times to get into games like Pillars of Eternity and Divinity, but quickly got burned out because they seem too easy on normal difficulty, the suggested difficulty for newcomers. So for the next time I give one of these games a try, I'm wondering if normal difficulty eventually will get more challenging, or if playing on hard difficulty is the sweet spot for these games. But also, if hard will get too hard later on, or if they should really be played on the very hard difficulty. Thank you for your expert video gamer advice.
I love one setting below the hardest.
Mm.
I feel like in most games, for me, that's always the sweet spot, because normal on pretty much every game is like no threat.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you pay attention, you do your due diligence, maybe a couple side quests here and there, you get your gear. Like normal, you're gonna get through. but like the hardest difficulty setting, it's a crapshoot. It's the Wild West. Every game varies differently. Like one game could be the hardest difficulty is chill, another one is super easy. So you never really know. That's why I really like when games have 4 difficulties, and I do that one below the very hardest.
I think with CRPGs in particular that this question asker is referring to, it can be really, really tricky because sometimes it's like Outer Worlds where normal is way too easy. But then like Divinity Original Sin 2 was extremely challenging. And I think in games like this where you can have so many different builds and so many decisions, it can vary wildly. And I can be pretty stubborn. Like if I put something on hard or whatever, I feel guilty lowering the difficulty. But I think kind of the beauty of the genre and something that made me enjoy the game more was you can switch the difficulty at any time in a lot of these games. And so if that is an option, I would encourage you to experiment because sometimes you'll just run into a brick wall and it's like, well, I'm going to bump it down for here, but then bump it up for normal things and just try different things. Don't be so committed from the outset if variable difficulty is an option.
If you think normal's too easy on those games,
you need to bump it up.
Professional. Bump it up, because those are challenging games.
No, well, Outer Worlds was definitely, that was one of my criticisms. It's like you get leveled to a point to where even bumping it up to the hardest difficulty doesn't feel like a challenge most of the time. But then, like Ben said, we'll once in a while just come across this random group of raiders or mantisaurs or something like, oh, this just killed me out of nowhere.
Yeah, I like the classic CRPG thing is like when a conversation goes wrong and people that you were not intending to fight are like, all right, time to die. And you just like are in it. You had no time to like position your characters or anything. And it's just like you get jumped and yeah, that sort
one
of
of
stuff
the
can
best
happen.
things NPC can say in those games, Ben. Time to die.
Time to die.
Time to
Yep.
die.
Like, oh, I guess
Moment.
this is over.
Yeah, I had a moment in that game where I was like in a dark corner, like picking a lock, but somebody on a street, like across the street, could see me, and like I aggroed the whole town. I'm like, okay.
Just like,
yeah.
That Desperados 3 is great for that kind of thing, and like obviously quick loading is like part of the game, you know, but man, you can get into hilarious scenarios where you like take one step into like a yard and then 8 guys kill you and you're like, all right, don't do that.
alarm goes off.
Yeah. It's just like, whoopsie.
Next question comes in from Michael Agnell. Hello, Easy Allies. Do you think we will have a big press conference by Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo before the end of the year?
No.
I mean, the Game Awards will be like kind of a pseudo conference, but yeah, I think that's gonna be it.
And then like a state of play maybe in January or February, but yeah, Game Awards handles all that for them.
Hey, that was a quick one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question comes in from Steve F. Hi, Allies. One thing we've certainly all been missing through the pandemic has been social interaction. One thing that draws me, and I'm sure a lot of people, into Easy A, especially now, is that I can feel like I'm hanging out with a bunch of friends. Often while watching your videos, I think back fondly to times, especially while I was a kid, where in-person multiplayer was possible. I'm wondering if you guys could share some memories of some unsung or lesser-known multiplayer games you used to play. No Mario Kart or Smash Brothers. My contribution: Gauntlet Legends on N64. My friends and I would bring our controller packs to each other's houses so we could use our own characters for co-op no matter whose cartridge we were playing off of. Such a foreign concept now. Thanks.
Remember playing Battle Tanks a lot, Brad?
Battle Tanks, yeah.
N64,
Battle
Tanks.
Tanks. Turok Rage Wars.
Yep.
Played a ton of that. We also played Duke Nukem 3D multiplayer sometimes.
Yeah, and Zero Hour, the third-person one.
Speaking of tanks, one of the earliest multiplayer games I ever played, I think it was on like, this was in like, you know, elementary or middle school or something. So it was like early IBMs, you know, but I think, or Apple IIe's maybe. The game I think was just called Tanks.
Yeah, with like an exclamation point, right?
It was like green hills. It was side views, just like 2 green hills, and you could just fire at each other, and all you had to do was figure out the trajectory and like change weapons and stuff.
It was like Atari Combat, it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah. It's like Worms, but like green and black and white and just like shooting trajectories at each other. I loved it.
Awesome.
Somebody in chat referenced this, and it jogged my memory. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance.
Yep,
I
played
played
that.
through that. I
Dude,
played through
yes.
that with a friend in middle school, and he was the friend who got me into D&D, also the best man at my wedding. And we had this moment where we had both agreed, like there was an enemy in the next room, and we both agreed to like do a countdown and go like rush it. And at the end of the countdown, we went 1, 2, 3, and then I went magic missile, and I didn't go in and attack. I just stayed back and casted magic missile, and we still say that line to each other when we meet up. So
Thank you, chat. It was Scorched Earth.
There it is.
Nice.
Nice.
This game is so good. I should do an episode on this game.
Both Legends games, both all 3 Alliance games, like X-Men and Marvel. Big
Yeah,
deal.
played a lot of fighting games with one of our friends, Brent, Mike. Played a lot
Yep.
of fighting games with him, MVC2, rival schools, all that stuff.
Power Stone was a big one.
Yep.
A
Yeah.
lot of Power Stone. Ben, you said Dark
Before-
Alliance, but Champions of Norath.
yeah,
think it
I
was
didn't. Dark Alliance 1 was really like the one of those games. I played, I think, a little bit of Dark Alliance 2, but I don't think I played Champions of Norath.
So
But
fun.
was it good? Yeah, I'd love to
Yeah.
actually go back and revisit those because I remember Dark Alliance 1 being like extremely short. So
DOS Game Archive, dude. You could just play it online. Sorry, I'm all about Scorched Earth now.
Nice. I also one of the reasons why I love how much Jackbox we're playing is my ex-girlfriend Erin. Whenever I would go over to her house, we would play You Don't Know Jack like almost every single time, and we played
would-
so much
yeah.
of that we like knew the answers, so it became less about like actual trivia and more like how quick you could respond to something and screw the other person, because it's like, I know that's one you keep forgetting. Like,
do you guys?
so good.
I think I'm getting the name right. This is another one that we really liked. It was like an Xbox game, Hunter the Reckoning.
Hunter
Yeah.
the Reckoning.
Yeah,
dude.
and like, oh yeah, I was really into that game. There's like on the cover, there's like a guy in a trench coat and a crossbow.
Yeah.
Very
in my
indicative
closet
of-
somewhere.
Yeah,
Right now.
Before the like mini game craze of like the Wii and everything picked up, the mini games in Pokemon Stadium 2 were really great to bust out when
Oh.
people came
Oh.
over. There's like one with like Caesar's like slashing logs and stuff like that.
And Mario Party.
yeah,
Party.
shout
my
out to
God.
Yeah, it's a very Mario
My
Party
God,
type
Yeah,
thing.
wrestling games. So many
Um,
wrestling games.
yeah.
But
Backstage
and then
brawls.
I don't think it actually was multiplayer, but Burnout 3 Crash Mode took over with some of my friends. So it was like I just kind of pulled it out to show them and expected everyone to go back to Mario Kart or something, and then we just played Burnout 3 all night. We just passed the controller around doing Crash Mode.
So fun, dude. Crash mode.
somebody else in chat mentioned this. Not super obscure, but absolutely phenomenally fun. And we spent so much time doing the Pokemon Stadium 1 mini games just over and over and over again. Scyther cutting the logs. Yeah, good fucking times for sure. Our next question comes in from Brian from Happy Gaming. Hey there, allies. Happy holidays. Let's get one thing straight. I know absolutely nothing about professional wrestling, but I do know the thing that is more important than anything else, music introductions. When someone comes out from behind the curtain to the cheering of the crowd and the lights flash on them, when their song explodes onto the speakers, it's got to be the right one, the song that can be the defining character trait of the wrestler. So with that out of the way, I want each of you to imagine that you're all professional wrestlers. You need to pick the perfect song to blast while the crowd cheers to your entrance. Here's the caveat. It needs to be from a video game. Oh, damn.
Oh,
Damn.
I had one ready to go.
Okay. Bonus points if you also have your name picked out and can describe your wrestler persona on top of that. Personally, I've been listening to a lot of the Yakuza 0 soundtrack, and if you haven't already, you should check out Kuze's Pledge of Demon theme, which gave me the idea for this question in the first place. It's a killer track.
The GTA 4 theme.
Can you come out as brand manager?
Yeah,
Say
sure.
your wrestling name?
Yeah.
I want to say I don't know the names of the songs off the top of my head, but I want to say something from the Shadows of the Dam soundtrack.
Good
Oh,
I
pick.
think that would be
Good
pretty
pick.
good with like the
Yeah.
wailing metal vocals and stuff. But I was also the first reaction was just as a troll almost is spinach rag from Final Fantasy VI. His ragtime piano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moon theme from DuckTales came to mind, but then I was like, oh, how could it not be Rip and Tear from Doom?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's very wrestling.
It's fresh on my mind, but it gets me so hyped. So I think I'm gonna do Bury the Light, Virgil's theme. It's just so, and it's a
Is that his
perfect
new one?
It's a DMC5. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
perfect
okay.
like wrestling song. It's just it's great.
I'd pick Bloody Tears.
Oh,
Nice.
that's a
Oh,
good
good.
pick.
Popping off right at the start, baby.
Classic.
I would do Max Payne's theme.
That
original
sounds
theme.
so intense. Max Payne.
Doing
Holy
that.
shit.
I would go with Rules of Nature.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
perfect,
so
dude.
When I read this
perfect.
question,
Perfect,
Damiani,
Damiani.
I knew you were
Yeah.
gonna pick Rules of Nature.
Oh,
100%.
Man, the
Yep.
Dragon's Dogma theme too would be so good.
Yeah.
You know what could be cool is just the PS1 startup theme, and you just it's just right when it hits, you just bust through a wall, flicking everyone off.
Mhm.
And that's it. You just sprint to the wrestling ring, flicking everyone off. You have the amount of time of the PlayStation 1.
So good.
Next question comes in from Nathan Kierce. Hey, allies. 2 generations ago, the Xbox 360 was my console of choice. Last gen, I just couldn't support Microsoft at the time and ended up picking up the PS4. Now Microsoft has pulled me back with the Xbox Series X. Is it because of new exclusives? No, it's because of backwards compatibility. But I bought a PS5 and a Series X, and the coolest next-gen experience I have had was turning on my Xbox, logging into my Xbox Live account that hasn't been touched in over a decade, and being instantly greeted as if I was returning home. My gamer score was still there, my profile pic was still there. It even remembered my last played game being Stick of Truth from the moment my 360 bricked 7 years ago. Was Stick of Truth 7 years ago? Christ.
Whoa.
Almost
Yeah, whoa.
instantly, I was right back in the Microsoft ecosystem, able to play nearly all my old 360 games again and catch up on what I missed last gen using Game Pass. How important do you think backwards compatibility will be for the industry moving forward? And what are your thoughts on Microsoft's increasing emphasis on making sure people have a way to return to their old favorites decades down the line?
Love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great thing to be able to hop back
I
in.
think it's oddly somewhat more important as we move away from physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, in the past, there's a sense it's like, well, I've got all these things. I just want to pop my disc in. But now it's like, well, why can't I just download this? Like, it's on my account. Like, I own the game, right? I think it's a bit of a different situation in a way that it's like, yeah, you just expect all of that stuff to move forward. And so there's not really any reason to feel like any of that stuff should be taken away from you just because you're on a new machine. And so I think that's something that like all of the console makers are going to have to keep in mind. And I think that also live service games play into that too. Like if you're continuing to play a game for 5, 6, 7 years, then why would a new console generation stop you from continuing to play that game?
I also think this generation is standardizing like improvements for past gen games, and that is going to be expected as we continue to move forward. Like when a new console comes out, all these games will run better on that new machine. I think that's going to trend.
It's extremely important to me, and it always has been, because I feel like I'm always playing an old gen game in the mix of new stuff that I'm playing. But I think on a broader level, the way that games are structured now, where they are consistently continual and they want you to make an account and they want to keep track of your progression, I don't think you can get new hardware and then be like, oh, you have to buy a new version of the game. And so I think in that sense, you have to have continuity, because players are like financially and time-wise investing more into games than they used to in the past.
Yeah.
Weird thing to see will be like how long, like it kind of has to be a forever thing or you'll piss people off. Like 30 years from now, will we be able to play a game that we bought digitally on the PS4 or whatever, like
Right.
Right.
or the Xbox 360 or Xbox One? Yeah. I wonder.
Yeah, but I feel like the pressure is on in a point where it's like imagine with PS5, it's like, hey, you can play all your PS4 stuff, and so you're combining these two massive libraries, and then let's say PS6 does it, and then you have three giant libraries, and then PS7 it's like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. Like the
Mhm.
blowback that they would receive.
Well, once we've all got gigabit Elon Musk space internet, and it's just free to everyone, we'll all just use Stadia, and then we'll all
Right.
just have Netflix for games, and then we won't have to worry about it.
I just think about how often I go to watch an old movie, Ian, and
Uh-huh.
it's like I'm ready to give someone money to watch this, and it's like
Yeah.
not available anywhere. You got to buy the disc for $80 on eBay or something.
Yeah.
It's like I hope we don't get to a point like that with video games.
Mhm.
I think that if there's demand, there'll always be niche companies like GOG and like stuff like that too that'll cater to that. You know?
Yeah.
Your point about movies, Huber, is extremely accurate, because I was like, well, I want to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and then I go and like the Blu-ray is like $100 or something.
Yeah.
And licensing rights ruin everything. Like it just sucks. And
Yeah.
I think no matter what, there will always be fringe cases of some sort of licensing rights being screwed up. Like I think of Crisis Core, right, and the weird licensing issues
Oh, right.
preventing that from showing up on other things. Like there's always going to be some instance of that.
Yeah, I feel like that's why just as equally important as just preservation of the original hardware as well as software. Backwards compatibility will be nice, that we've been talking about, but so many games, even as they're brought further and further forward, are probably going to lose some features. I think to older games that had peripheral support, like unique components of them, like hell, even the Wind Waker had like the tingle tuner stuff with the Game Boy
Right.
Advance that does not exist in the Wind Waker HD, and that's the version that'll probably always be, if they ever re-release the Wind Waker, it'll probably be that version, and that version will probably be the one that Nintendo emphasizes on preserving or something like that. But there are plenty of other games that have those weird quirks to them that newer versions have removed them, and you will only have those newer versions. And as what you just said as well, Ben, licensing, like how many people nowadays, like how easy is it to buy Crazy Taxi now digitally, but it doesn't come with the music
Right.
you
Right.
want.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, about that. So even like with the Tony Hawk 1-2 HD, not all the songs from the original made it into that. So that's always something that, I guess it's a balancing act, but I still think as much emphasis is put on backwards compatibility should also be put on like companies that make those specialized systems to play retro games. I hope they continue to keep doing that and finding ways to keep supporting those weird, odd peripherals as well, so that they can keep working into the future.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the things we saw when we were going through the Xbox stuff, right, was like Crimson Skies, like, oh, you can't play the demos, because essentially it's just like downloaded in, Xbox One version that they've cooked up, and it's basically really just using the disc as a key, but you're not reading the disc. It's like, but what demos are there? It's like I have to pull out my old Xbox to see what the demos even are.
Which ironically is what they wanted to do with the Xbox One, right? Just use a disc as a
Sure.
key, and then you
Yeah.
download the game.
Our next question comes in from Tim M. Hey, allies, I would like you to pick a video game series that you think does bonds/relationships the best. Thanks a lot. Love and respect.
Red
Suikoden
Dead
is the
Redemption
first.
Kingdom Hearts,
Suikoden
baby.
is a great.
Number one. It's not even close.
I love the bonds. That's true.
Very true.
Red Dead 2.
Huber, how would you rate the bonds in Majora's Mask?
Dude, so strong. Top tier. Top tier.
Oh, dude, yeah. Persona 4 Golden, Yakuza.
Persona
very
up
good.
there for
Yeah.
sure.
Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
I think these are all great answers for sure. I don't think I've ever bought into bonds between party members as hard as I did in Final Fantasy IX, though. Like I really believed that this like group of misfits came together through supernatural circumstances and like really deeply cared about each other.
Shout out
bond
to
bet-
6 too, because there's a great scene in 6 where like everyone yells at each other. Where like everybody splits off in 3 directions, and then when they meet up, like a lot of them hate each other, and so it's just like it's kind of fun to just take a bunch of RPG characters and all like force them to be in a room.
the bonds in Metal Gear Solid, I think, are pretty good. Like
Mm.
between Snake and Otacon and the boss and stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing like a bond. Not just speaking about MGS, but like a fraught bond where like people still like really need each other and care about each other, but it's like I have to defeat you because that's a fun thing.
The Otacon or the Otacon Snake relationship is so fascinating because you think about when they first meet each other and like Otacon is just like pissing himself hiding in a locker.
Yeah.
And is just like completely like helpless, and then he kind of ends up becoming like a genuine friend and relating to Snake in a way that like almost no one else can, and like becoming like this crucial part of this operation that they form. It's kind of a great transformation.
I think obvious ones, Huber, Life is Strange.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Mhm.
And then Roki, I think, did a good job with that
I'll
this
play
year.
that.
Yeah.
Miles Morales, surprisingly emotional. I went into that being like, oh, this will be fun, and like was weeping by the end of it. Like, oh my god, just
Really?
just
Wow.
just finished my second playthrough, and like, oh,
I haven't started it yet.
oh.
I
gotta
need
get
to
on
start it too. I'm still
Ugh.
working on Demon Souls, and I
Yeah.
spent this
Runs you-
whole
runs you through the
weekend
ringer.
working on my computer. So
Yeah, I beat Demon Souls.
Mouse
So.
is good.
Any of you Ueda's games, I'd say, like Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, and Last
Last
Guardian, all
Guardian,
have
yeah.
strong bonds, and it comes across really well, especially because there's like no dialogue in those games.
Aggro, man.
yeah.
Hug it out.
I had strong bonds to my Pikmin in Pikmin 3.
Yeah.
I got pissed when any one of them died.
Yeah.
Dude, that was when I played the Pikmin 3 demo, I was like, I'm gonna buy this. And then I had a Pikmin die, and I was like, I don't think I can handle this emotionally.
Pikmin has to be one of the most immediate examples I can think of level of quality versus appreciation. Like there's such
Yeah.
That was
Play
Ian, that was
Pikmin.
Pikmin 2 for me, because there's like you go to caves and there's like multiple layers, and one had like 7 layers, and I was on layer 6 and lost every single Pikmin, like almost in one move. Like the boss just went like and just like killed all of them, and I was like, well, Pikmin 2, it's been fun. I'll see you later. Like,
Yeah, see you
Yeah.
later, Pikmin.
I'm not gonna spend an hour farming all of that.
Oh,
Good,
yeah.
no.
Exploding.
Jeez.
I like
Exploding balls.
Shenmue bonds because the
Mm.
first and the second game are like so different. The type of bonds you form, like one is your hometown childhood friends, and then 2 is like meeting these strangers. It's just like such a different feeling.
Arkwing24 in chat says Fire Emblem, which is also a fantastic
Mhm.
answer.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a game is good at doing bonds if people will go to internet war for their character. Like, there are some Three Houses discussions with like characters and routes where it's like, I think if you met each other in real life, like actual violence might occur.
It's yeah, that is such a like Three Houses. I cared about them as though they were my friends.
Yeah. That's like all anime fans, though. No.
Yeah.
I think it's different. All right, next question comes in from SageMo Q. Hello, allies. I just want to start off by saying that a couple of months ago, I asked you guys a specific question about who you would want to make a James Bond game, and I think it was Ben or Jones who said that IO Interactive, so good on you guys. You called it. And now my
Nice.
question. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, so I was wondering if any of the allies had had any specific nice memories or traditions when it came to Thanksgiving. Also, each ally's favorite Thanksgiving food.
We covered it. Anybody,
Covered that.
anyone ever sit at the kids' table? That's something I was
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about.
Oh, yeah.
my-
Oh,
my-
yeah.
When I was a
Still
kid,
do.
yeah.
my mom about. But as an adult, I've never been around a kids' table. You know, I don't know if that was just like, an 80s, 90s thing, or like, that's interesting.
We definitely had the kids table. Now it's more just like people sit wherever, but there's always 2 or 3 tables,
Mhm.
and then people just kind of choose, and so then you get into really interesting scenarios where it's like all the young hip cousins, and then your weird like uncle, and you're like, all right, this is happening. Let's see how this goes.
The thing that made the kids' table like kind of pathetic is you would see the adults sitting at like this nice big wooden table that was like meant to host people, and then the kids table would be like this shitty card table that like you're
Wobbles.
you're on opposite sides of the square, but you're like right on top of each other, and it's like, can we get an actual table, please? Yeah.
Funny memory. We were at my cousin's in LA, and they had a hammock out in front, but like on the porch, and we put one of my cousins in it, and my brother and I were like rocking her back and forth in this hammock, and then like it got so out of control, it was next to the window, and she slammed into the window, and the window shattered. Everyone was fine, but the window just like smashed, glass everywhere, and it was awkward. Yeah.
There we go. Best Thanksgiving traditions, everyone.
Yeah, that's a tradition.
Breaking glass.
Shatter a window every time.
Yeah. My folks would invite at least one person every year when I was like in high school before I left home, where, you know, it'd be like my drama teacher or somebody who like would otherwise have had Thanksgiving by themselves. And so that was always nice to kind of, it was someone I knew and was familiar with, but it was like, you can just kind of learn a little bit more about them, or like, it's a good opportunity to get a couple fun stories that you otherwise probably wouldn't hear.
Yeah, for like 12 or 15 years or something like that. Used to go up to friends' families up in Northern California for Thanksgivings, you know, because when we first moved out here, it was kind of that same kind of thing, which like get a whole bunch of people from LA that, you know, aren't from California and you know, let them have Thanksgiving with family. And then slowly as everyone got older and had their own families and things like that, the group got smaller and smaller, but we were probably one of the last ones to keep going.
I have a huge family. We used to host, so like,
wow,
back when, you know, before life, but like, yeah. So we would have like my mom and sometimes it was my mom and dad's side of the family, so it'd be like 70 people.
Oh my god!
Wow,
it was bonkers.
Wow.
Adult tables and mid tables and teenager tables and baby tables.
Yeah.
Dude,
it was nuts. We had a dining room and we had folding tables that we would put out and a bunch of chairs, and so it would be like 3 or 4 of those long tables. No, we would do it in a like a U shape. So yeah, the most we had was like a U shape with people around the whole thing,
like a feasting hall.
Yeah, it was bonkers.
Dude, I don't know if anybody else's family is like this, but I dreaded whenever we would host a holiday because my parents would clean the house in like a way that was unnecessary. It's like you don't have to pull out the fridge and clean behind the fridge because no one's gonna be back there. No one's going behind the fridge. It's not gonna happen. And like one of the number one things, like I can go from 0 to 60 in terms of anger. It's like my biggest pet peeve in the world. My mom does this thing when people are gonna come over where she'll like polish the door and like the handles of the doors, and you'll like go to the bathroom and you'll go to touch the handle of the door and it'll be like slimy, and it's the worst feeling in the world. I hate it.
Whoa.
I hate it so much.
Isn't it Ellen DeGeneres is married to Portia de Rossi? Is that her name?
Yeah.
And Portia's like big on lotion, and she got trapped in the bathroom one time. I just couldn't turn the doorknob and like banged on the door.
Oh
like,
my
help!
God.
I'm stuck in the bathroom.
Yeah, I've long held the belief that if you touch a doorknob and it's wet in a room that doesn't have a sink, you're in trouble.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Jones, are you ready for this question?
Oh yeah, baby.
Hey, allies, this is a question for Jones. Since Brandon Jones has voiced all the content from GT to EZA containing Naruto, he should be well-versed in the lore. What is the name of the shadowy organization in Naruto? You can get 3 guesses. Don't fail. Huber.
Don't yell at Huber. Don't yell it out.
Question.
The shadowy organization.
The shadowy organization.
Is it like the villains? Yeah, nothing. Sorry.
Begins with an A.
Big fail.
That already.
Begins with an A.
Huber randomly says it many times.
But it's like we don't really give context for it.
Akatsuki?
Yeah, there.
There it is.
There it is.
Jones.
I was like, it's not Orochimaru. That's the
Yeah.
other one he yells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is, dude.
Nice.
Boom.
Katsuki,
Jones is
dude.
anime.
I just like to point out, I also read a lot of Dragon Ball reviews. Also read a lot of, it wasn't just Naruto.
I think somebody did the Dragon Ball one last month.
You've definitely
they're
got
following up.
NarutoTrailers.com.
Yeah.
NarutoTrailers.com.
Thanks for the assist there, Humor.
Next question comes in from Not Jack. Easy A, what's the biggest point of criticism you have for one of your favorite games of 2020? I always appreciate a good critique, even if the topic is a 10 out of 10 game, and I'm curious what comes to mind for all of you. Please, no fake critiques like it's too good or it eventually ends. No, we're not going to do that. My example, while Ghost of Tsushima is one of my favorite games of the year, all the connections people made to Breath of the Wild made no sense to me. The wind and bird effects were cool, but the moment-to-moment gameplay was very Ubisoft open world-like and could be improved.
Just the menu and dreams. I haven't been back to really check on it, but when I first started out, I was like, there's a way you can organize this to get people who are into a specific type of thing that Dreams is doing directly, and there's just it was a little bit cluttered and confusing.
In Half-Life Alyx, there are so many moments where you have to do these little puzzles. And for a game that is like so incredibly immersive and convincing, like using your hands and being like, okay, I got to run the line through this thing like over and over and over again throughout the game just feels so like antiquated. This game that otherwise feels like futuristic, it's just like a shitty gamey aspect of this game that totally doesn't need to be there.
Final Fantasy 7 needed to let you save multiple materia loadouts.
Yeah, it's a really good one, especially in hard mode.
Yeah. It's needed a way to have you have different configurations for that. Would have been so nice.
Yeah,
That's a great question.
for a great looking game like Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, sometimes like the environment looked like real bad or super jarring. Like the door is the main part, but there's other parts in that game.
The
And I was just
door.
like, what?
The door.
Too many resources in The Last of Us Part 2.
Too many?
Too many.
Oh yeah.
I know sometimes I'll like refuse to use my
Yeah.
if you watch the stream, but still feel like there's a little too many.
Hubert, I'm not going to turn up the difficulty in Valhalla because I want to get through it fast so we can do a spoiler mode and so we can talk about it. But like,
Yeah.
I feel bad. I'll go into churches. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, you guys don't have a chance.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, I have an ability. Brutal.
Next question comes in from Jesse Blue. Hello, Eyes. I hope you are all well and enjoying your new consoles. Since you all deserve some time off this holiday, my question is simple. What is the game or activity you are most looking forward to doing on your own time, i.e. not published content? Is it a movie, book, multiplayer game with your friends? I know travel is being affected, so I'm hoping my question will put a positive spin on what could otherwise seem a disappointing holidays. Thank you for everything you do, and here's to 2021 being the light at the end of the tunnel. I really like this
I'm
question.
so hyped. The night I put my Christmas tree up, Miles Morales.
Oh, nice.
Waiting for that Christmas tree.
It's
Yeah.
very good.
Holding strong.
I'm tempted to do, I'm not going to do this, but I was really tempted to stream Miles Morales when it happens. So like start it on Christmas Eve. And then when I go to bed and it transitions, stop, be like, all right, see you tomorrow. And then play it again on Christmas and then play it again on the day after Christmas. And
Nice.
because they make a point to tell you like what day it is, in reference to the events that happened. Also, shout out to my in-laws who are coming into town for the holidays and are going to see Milo for the first time in like over a year, I think. So
wow.
I can't wait. That's going to be great.
One of the best decisions that I've made this year, and something that I look forward to once I have like a chunk of time off, is I've been going through entire horror movie series, like really long series. Like I just finished up Friday the 13th. I'm almost done with Nightmare on Elm Street, and it has just been delightful to see the high points and the low points of all of these series. And I think even when they're at their worst, like they're still immensely entertaining. And so I just want to keep going with that.
I don't have a
Watch,
particular.
sorry.
I was say I just don't have a particular game. I just want to play games I haven't been able to play yet.
Yeah, it's kind of like for me, like I've got that backlog, man. Like figuring out how I'm gonna actually get through it and what order and all that stuff. FF7. I just got FF7 remake because they like emailed me like Black Friday sale. And like, I know I'm playing that by the end of the year. I'm gonna buy it for $20 off. I'm doing it.
Hey, 20
You,
bucks, baby.
you still haven't played that thing?
Yeah, I'm thinking the only one. Yeah.
Woof.
I know some Hot Cocoa and Shadowlands is in my
Nice.
future, definitely.
Mm.
Very nice.
I'm just looking forward to like not having to work constantly.
Sure.
So I haven't really thought much farther ahead than that.
Demon Souls is probably a holiday game for me.
Ah.
A Christmas game specifically.
Our next question comes in from Ulf himself. Hi, allies. What are the best Christmas games? Either Christmas themed or just vibes? Ooh.
Mm.
Miles Morales.
Yeah, Miles Morales.
One of the Dead Risings. Was it 3? 4? 4.
Yeah, I don't know if we can
God.
put that in best,
No,
but
don't.
Bully, both for Halloween and Christmas.
Mm.
Like has a nice little pause on the. I imagine the Harry Potter games because the changing of the seasons is always a big deal in the books and movies.
I feel like I tend to play a Yakuza game around Christmas, and it's always super appropriate. Like the
Yeah,
vibes.
it's like always winter in those games.
Yeah, the vibe of Yakuza tends to mesh very well with the relaxing holiday vibes, for sure.
I always have a special holiday connection with Persona 4 Golden in my
Mm.
head because I would be at home in bed on my Vita just playing,
That's a great Christmas game, Ian.
yeah, the holidays.
there's a couple of Batman games, right? So Batman Returns.
Well,
and
Arkham Origins.
Arkham
yeah.
Origins.
Yes, yes, that's it. I knew there was
That's it.
one. Animal
Yeah.
Crossing too, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, Animal
Fortnite.
Crossing for sure.
Obviously.
Huber, I genuinely don't know if that was a
10%
joke.
joking.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if that was a joke or not.
10% joke.
Media Molecule's probably gonna have some sort of Christmas
Oh.
competition
Oh,
in
yeah.
Dreams that you'll be able to check
I'm
out.
cheating a little bit, but Nights had Christmas Nights.
Yeah. You know, I don't think I've played Christmas Night's Blood, but I have the disc. I should do that. That
Nice.
sound.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm
Good
so
answer.
glad you put that idea in my head. All right. Our next question comes in from Asbo Zabruder. Good afternoon, gentlemen. That's a really fun name to say, by the way. I just
I
want to let
lo-
you know
I've always
that.
loved Asbo as a breeder.
Screaming
Yeah.
Argonaut in chat.
I
Oh,
hope.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Whoa.
I think of
Dun, dun,
JFK
dun,
every
dun,
time.
dun.
Is that weird? The
Think of-
Zapruder film? My dad's obsessed.
I think it's a reference to something. But yeah.
I hope you're all doing well and are still able to find something special in this year's Thanksgiving, despite everything. Unfortunately, this will be my last Q&A submission for a while, as I'm finally going to have to lower my pledge a bit. No worries. Apparently, foregoing work for being my mother's caretaker is less lucrative than I had thought. Who knew? I wish I had something profound to wrap things up, but instead, I'm going to go with something random. I was wondering the other day, how many games can the panel name that have been played by all 8 allies?
Ooh.
That's
Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Wow.
We all beat Bloodborne?
I haven't
Xbox.
beaten it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Breath of the
Smash.
Wild.
Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Yeah, Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Breath of the Wild.
Mario
yeah.
Party.
Mario
God of
Party.
War.
Well,
I assume.
Wait,
we
is
can't
this
speak
play
for
or
it.
finish?
Is this
It's
play or
just play.
finish?
I think it's just
Play.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
try for finish. I'm curious.
Finish would be hard.
Yeah.
I think that would be an extremely
Breath of the
short
Wild?
list.
Yep.
Breath of the Wild, I think we've all finished.
Yeah.
Dawn, are we including Dawn? Because
Right.
Gotta count some Mario games in
We
there.
wouldn't
dude.
know if Don finished something though without him
yeah.
here.
I think played is probably going to be easier to name.
All the Marios.
Right.
All of the
All of
Marios?
the Zeldas.
A lot.
Well, we've all
Probably
played them.
Yeah, we've all played
We
all the
haven't beaten
Marios.
all of them, maybe.
I didn't play Galaxy 1 or 2.
Really?
Damn it,
We've been
Jones.
through this. We've been through this.
I don't
Damn it,
remember.
Jones.
Oh, yeah, Metal Gear Solid, I guess, is probably one.
Mhm.
That might be one that has everybody finished Metal Gear Solid?
Oh,
Yes.
oh yeah. VR missions, baby. Is that VR missions behind you, Ben?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's Gray Fox from VR Missions. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's my favorite. One of my favorite game covers. Yeah, if not my all-time favorite.
Cooey.
Are we stumped?
That's
Well,
good.
Bloodborne was the first one at GT that everybody bought day one.
I think probably everybody's played a lot of the GTA's.
Except
Yeah.
for maybe
well.
Dawn.
Well, we did a
We've
big
all-
run for Mario Galaxy as well, but I mean that's
except for Jones.
yeah,
except for
but that's the thing.
Jones.
It's like we
All
we were
been
still
among
sort of
us.
split because the company was so gigantic at that point.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I think pretty much everyone on the editorial team had gotten it, but
Oh
then-
yeah, Limbo or
oh, yeah.
Inside.
Short
No
ones
Portal,
again.
I would imagine. probably.
Oh,
Portal.
Portal, yeah.
Journey.
Mm-hmm.
Ocarina of Time.
I never
Ocarina of
played it.
Time. Oh, you haven't played Ocarina of Time? That
Oh
would be a
my
fun one
God.
for you to revisit, Ian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. God of War. I think we all played
Has
that.
everyone played
God of
Pac-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Played
good.
that
You could do.
Tetris.
You could do like arcade
Yeah.
games like that.
Resident Evil 4 for sure.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Resident Evil 1.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2.
I only played the remakes on 1 and 2. I didn't play those originals.
Oh,
The original is a much different experience.
Yeah.
that's a good box art.
Yeah,
the
that is a-
one box art with
that is a
like
good box art.
spiders crossing each other. The guy's face is like, ah, I was like, what the hell is this game?
Yeah, dude. We have not all played Animal Crossing. Don hasn't played it,
Me either.
Oh, it seems like a Don game.
and Huber. Yeah.
Stay away.
Our next question comes in from
Missed the boat.
Corey Jackson. If you could hang out with anyone from the new Hyrule Warriors, how would you spend the day with them?
I don't know who's like all in that game.
Yeah, I don't think I can answer this because
I played one mission. Played
Yeah.
today.
Impa teaching you some illusion magic would be pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
who's the bow bird? What's his name?
Rivali.
Yeah,
Rivali, he would suck to hang out with. That dude's
Oh,
a
I love
dick.
that guy.
Ravioli.
I think
I'll hang out with
I think they
Ravioli.
get along.
Yeah, go flying around.
Yeah, you and Jones would get along. for
I think
sure.
Urbosa is just pretty goddamn awesome, and so I
She
imagine a day with her would be eventful.
Sand surfing.
What's the Goron guy? What's his name?
Daruk?
Yeah, Daruk.
he'd
yeah,
be
that's who I'd
chill.
hang out with.
Goron's
Guardian,
always great
yeah.
to
Yeah,
hang
the
out
Baby
with.
Guardian is a good pick, chat. CJ Gamer.
What are you gonna do with the baby guardian? He's just gonna
Nothing.
whistle at you.
He's just gonna
Yeah.
go weep weep.
You know, Daruk might be the
I
most
can't
fun
believe
to hang out
this
with.
report.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Daruk is chill.
Yeah,
Oh,
But you'd probably have to like smash some rocks or something.
No,
Hanging
dude, you
out
chill like a hot spring with him. That's what he'd be about.
Yeah, Daruk would be
Nice.
the best.
I would smash
true.
rocks with Daruk.
Yeah,
that sounds
I'd be like,
great.
all right.
The problem with Daruk though is he's comfortable in very hot temperatures, so it wouldn't be great in that regard.
Cloud Walker in
sweating.
chat said Daruk smokes weed. Daruk definitely smokes weed.
What's interesting about Gorons, you say like, yeah, they're comfortable in hot temperatures, but I don't feel like they ever get uncomfortable anywhere.
No, man, they were in
No,
like
yeah.
the snow before and stuff. They're fine.
Yeah.
Water.
But yeah, I wouldn't
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to hang out with Mifa because I feel like she'd always be like picking up some kind of signal that you weren't intending to get across.
Yeah, hang out with her brother instead, dude.
I wouldn't want to hang out with Link because he doesn't talk.
Yeah, Link's a yeah.
Yeah.
That could be
Stressed.
nice.
He's
Yep.
stressed.
Yeah, that could
Oh,
be
that is
nice,
actually
I
a funny
guess.
thing because I almost like got a sense that he was like that because of the time jump, but if he's also like that in Hyrule Warriors, it's kind of funny.
That's
my
where it kind
perception
of falls
Link.
apart for me. I'm like, why? It's one of those dumb like video game conceit things where it's like this person never speaks. Like, why is anyone hanging out with them?
Well, he does. It's just never on camera.
Right.
There's like documents of him talking to people, but yeah.
You know, thinking
Yeah,
about
Link
it,
smokes way too much weed. And that's why he never talks.
thinking about it more, Breath of the Wild Zelda would actually be really fun because she's just kind of this giant.
Science.
She's just kind of this giant nerd, and so I think you could
He
just
is,
geek
yeah.
out with
Yeah.
her and have a good time.
Link is just camera shy.
I bet you could have a good talk with Zelda about ray tracing. I don't think you could say
Probably,
that
yeah.
about
Yeah.
maybe the other
Light.
characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
Next question comes in from Robert Lee. Hello, allies. How do you approach reviewing 60 plus hours games? Great question. What's your schedule like? How many hours a day do you dedicate toward it? Does time pressure factor into your enjoyment? Love and respect.
Talk to me about long games right now.
This is actually something I think you always feel pressure, right?
Right.
And
Mhm.
I'm not mad when people ask this because I get it and I think it's a reasonable question, but the pressure only adds because you will inevitably have multiple people responding to you in some form being like, where's the review? Where's the review? Where's the review? And that's a totally fair question, but it does add pressure. And I think early on reviewing stuff, I definitely felt that more intensely, but later on I've learned that you have to you have to kind of sometimes take things at your own pace, and being able to really dig into a game and understand it is probably more important than the
Mhm.
speed with which you get through it, because I think it'll make for a better review. And that's something I've kind of grown to understand and become more comfortable with over time.
Yeah, I think one of the tricks is, and we were talking about this with, Huber's giant Assassin's Creed review, and going back to when I did The Witcher, is sort of like the side quest management and figuring out, because, like say, like if you crit path like Fallout 3, like I think Matt Blair did that and he was done with it in like 3 hours or something. Like you haven't played that game, it's like you
Right.
have to figure out what your balance of side activities is to really understand what the game is like and what the game is about,
Yeah.
while also not get so obsessed with it that you just never finish it and you're not getting the review done.
It's a case-by-case basis, though, Blood,
Yeah.
because like Yakuza 7, which was the last review I did, doing the sub-stories was really insightful and really just being extremely thorough and like, oh, one popped up, going and doing it, because those stories were extremely strong and rivaled a lot of what was in the main story. But like with Xenoblade Chronicles, I did a ton of the side quests, but I don't necessarily think you need to appreciate that game. And
Right.
so you have to kind of feel that stuff out as you're playing it, and it can vary between games, and different people have different opinions on what's important.
Yeah, and like Huber, like you were saying with the review, it's like once you've done like 5 raids, like you're good on what a raid is.
I would say you do one cairn and you're like, okay. Like you stack one pile of rocks and you're like,
But some of those things can be a little bit, like say something like the dice game or like Gwent, the depth of that mini game doesn't come across in just 1 or 2 attempts.
I
You've
played
got
a lot of Warlock. That's a fun game.
yeah. Ben, I've heard so many people on Twitter talking about the business management thing in Yakuza 7. Like all of them are like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like people have told me this is huge, and I still am, very surprised at how deep this goes.
That business management stuff, because you kind of get into it and you're like, oh, I think I know what this is going to be, and then like the story that it has and the things that it gives you and how it evolves, it's like a game into itself. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, just going through Valhalla too, it made me realize like 100-hour games it's why I don't play like some JRPGs. It's why I've never played Fire Emblem, because it's so long. I just like, you start doing the math in your head and it's like, okay, if I play this 8 hours every day, uninterrupted, without wasting a single moment, no like bathroom breaks, eating breaks, like a solid 8 hours a day, that's like 12 plus days straight in a row. It's just like, it's too much.
That's why I don't think I'm gonna commit to Valhalla. But that very reason.
I was thinking about that playing Valhalla, and like the thing that I think it's a little more acceptable with Odyssey is that like this isn't a game about like a guy named Frank who works, as there's like a subway engineer or something. Like this is a story about Vikings crossing the ocean to go to a completely new land and build out. So like everything about the game suggests like this is going to take a while. And like Odyssey is called Odyssey, it's literally based on like one of the biggest epics in the history of storytelling. And so it's like, okay, at least like the subject matter kind of, goes out of the way to support, having some big, huge thing. Whereas if you're playing some weird shooter, like a strategy game or something, and you're just like, enough.
Sorry, just to go back to like Huber's point of like Fire Emblem being a really long game, I feel like that's something that's totally reasonable to think about. It's something you think about more in the beginning. But if you're thinking about that while you're playing the game all the time, I think you've failed in the idea of just trying to play a game and have a good time with it.
Yeah.
For work, it can be a different thing, but I think you really need to just disconnect yourself from that mindset a lot of times and just enjoy your time with the game.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really great point, Brad. Although sometimes it can be hard because we're in a position where it's like there are things that we have to play and then things that we want to play.
Yeah.
So I think when you get into that want to play section, like finding time for it, just you naturally, gravitate toward length and stuff. But I do think that's a
balance that I still haven't figured out, Ben. Is that like, okay, I'm playing through Demon Souls. I want to play through Demon Souls, but I'm also trying to review Dirt 5. And it's like, I've got so many other things on my plate during the day. And it's like, okay, well, it's like 8 o'clock. I haven't played Dirt yet.
Right.
Do I play some Dirt before I played Demon Souls, or does that count as working a 15-hour day? It's like it gets gnarly.
I'm sure some people will disagree with me, maybe even some allies disagree with me, but something that I've really developed fairly recently is like, I love finishing games. I love going through stories. I love building up characters. But I think just with the way things are and how many games there are, I'm just trying to be appreciative of the time that I spend with something, even if I don't finish it. So rather than like mindset, like you were talking about, Brad, where it's like if I spend 10 hours with a game or 15 hours with a game or 20 hours with a game or 5 hours with a game and I don't finish it, but I still had a really good time, trying to convince myself that it's like, oh, don't make that like a guilty thing in your mind. Don't make that like a negative thing. Just be appreciative of the time that you got to spend with it, and that time is still valuable.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like I did that with Animal Crossing. I played like a week maybe, and I got bored, and I was like, I don't care. I'm good.
Trust your instincts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hubert,
It's hard
I think
for me
there's
to do that
yeah.
with stories. I like
Sure.
seeing stories through to the end. If it's a non-story game like Animal Crossing, it's like, all right.
But like,
yeah, and I'm
there's
not saying everybody has to agree with it. It's just something that has helped me, I think.
with a story thing though. I think you shouldn't feel bad if you're not enjoying yourself with the story.
Totally. As soon as you start thinking about length and hours and all that, like bail out, ripcord, get out. Too many games to play.
That's funny because I'm kind of in the opposite mindset where like I feel like I've like touched in and dabbled into so many games this year, and I'm like, man, I just want to finish some games. Ben will be like, you want to be on Frame Trap this week? I'm like, oh crap, and I'll play like 3 or 4 games for like 2 or 3 hours, and then I don't ever get back.
That's what Frame Trap really. That's the Frame Trap. Is it catches you when you haven't played anything. You're like, oh shit.
I don't know if it happens with all the allies, but it definitely happens with a lot of allies where I get that sense where they're like, oh, gotta find stuff to play. Also, I do think there is a balance to this, but follow your heart as well. Like, like Brad was saying, don't overthink things. Like there's no reason for me to be as addicted to Dead by Daylight as I am, but I'm having a blast. I'm not checking something off a backlog. It's endless, but I'm having a good time. And I think doing that is really healthy for your enjoyment of a hobby is just letting you go where your interests take you.
Yep.
I don't do reviews, but I definitely feel time pressure when it comes to goaties sometimes, where I'm like slogging through a game just so I can argue against it and get shot
Get
down,
angry playing, like
get hated by the internet.
Oh yeah, that part sucks. Right there.
Next question comes in from Caesar Villa. Hello, allies. How are you? Ready to stuff your face with turkey? Are you preparing an astronaut suit to be safe for Black Friday? I hope you have fun during Thanksgiving week and get the most out of it, given the circumstances. Everybody doing well?
Yeah, Cyber Monday, baby.
The last friend
Monday.
code.
I think I'm gonna do anything.
I'm done buying things this year.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, my wife and I are going to make a Thanksgiving meal, so hopefully that is a good experience.
Nice. Good luck.
Thanks. The last friend code about Pikmin 3 made me remember how back in 2001, every time I came across the Pikmin box, I thought, what is this? What on earth are you doing, Nintendo? To me, it looked like an Atari 2600 game, those bugs in the cover, and the name said nothing. Years passed, and when the Wii New Play Control re-release of Pikmin came along, all I could hear was praise for the game and its revival, so I decided to give it a try. Boy, was I wrong. This game is great. Have you ever had something like that with a game? Something that made you tune out, but after giving it a chance, you ended up loving it?
Well, bored.
Yeah, I mean, that was Pikmin for me. So that was the whole
strategy
episode.
games, real-time strategy.
Mm.
Didn't think that was something I was like, I'll probably enjoy this, but I'm not gonna be like obsessed with it. And then Wings of Liberty, I was like, what have I done with my life? What is this?
When Animal Crossing 1, sorry, I cut you off there, Brandon. When Animal Crossing Run came out, I remember like not understanding it and it being like, oh, it's going to take up an entire memory card's worth of space. And then when New Leaf came around, I just absolutely ended up loving it. So
it's not like much of a surprise, but I was given like how I used to love like Suikoden and stuff, but I did not expect to get so head over heels crazy about Three Houses.
I'm surprised that you got head over heels crazy about Three Houses. Yeah.
Yeah, I was all in on Three Houses, baby. I think it hit me at the right time too. I don't know. That's just like what I needed. But
That was one of the best surprises of 2019, I think. Ian being really into Three Houses.
it's a good ass game, man.
Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
Another one for me is I have negative interest in sports. Like I just don't give a shit. But a really good friend of mine was really into soccer, and I sat down and played FIFA with him. And I actually had a lot of fun, which surprised me, despite having no interest in soccer or football whatsoever. Next question comes in from I. Sanchez. How do you guys feel about next-gen controllers? Wanted to hear perspectives from all the allies. What do you like and dislike, as well as what would you like to see in the future, since they are a fundamental part of gaming?
Dude, the battery life is trash on both.
The battery life is trash on both. You took the words right out of my mouth, Huber. You took the words
Yep.
right
I
out of
haven't
my
had
mouth.
issues with them.
Yeah,
Mine
I
are
haven't had
constantly
issues.
plugged in. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. I intentionally made sure I got, an extra controller for each and
Right.
have that ready to go as a backup. But I'm also
I got
close enough to
2.
where I can just plug the cord in and it doesn't bother me. So
Yeah, that's true. I don't
DualSense
ever use batteries in the Xbox controllers, even the Xbox One controllers. I always just use the USB cable. I do like how they're both USB-C now, and I have a million USB-C cables lying around even with them. So I'm glad they got off of that. So I'm really happy about that.
I was just able to sync my new Xbox controller to my new PC after I installed the wireless card. And that was nice. It's like, oh yeah, like actually playing wirelessly on my PC for the first time.
Obviously, the haptic feedback is really cool, but I think even more importantly, they both just feel great in my hands. At a glance, looking at the Xbox controller, I'm like, oh, it's just more of the same. But I actually think it's an improvement pretty substantially over the Xbox One controller. And I think the DualSense is great as well. I think I like the DualSense a little bit more, but I am extremely happy with both
The
controllers.
360 to the Xbox One, I think, is the most drop off I've ever had with a controller. I'm not a huge fan of the Xbox One controller. I think it works great for shooters,
wow.
but I would like to call your attention to the L1 and R1 buttons on both controllers. This is the PS5. This is the Xbox. It's like more of a click on the Xbox, more like,
Right.
and it's like on the Xbox One, it was really smooth and glassy, and
Yeah.
so it was.
Yeah.
I remember a game that I bounced off of immediately, Huber. I played Evil Within 1 on the Xbox One and was like, nope, because the R1 was sneak. And it felt so bad. Every time I'm sneaking, it's like click. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear me sneaking. Whereas the PS4 just had this nice, cozy little
Nice.
So, but and so I was nervous playing Valhalla on Xbox, but this controller's rad. I love the little grooves on the triggers now, and very cool.
But that's the funny
I don't
thing.
really
Actually,
play.
I don't like the grooves on the triggers and the
I do.
texture on the back, because I think the thing that's bugging me about it is because the Xbox still has that older, kind of stronger, more I don't know, the rumble is different, right? It's the more traditional rumble effect. I think that paired with the grippy texture almost feels like sandpapery to me, when it's rumbling a lot.
That's interesting because the way the Xbox triggers are curved, I think feel really natural, and I like that texture a lot. Also, the D-pad on the Xbox Series X controller is not garbage, and I'm really grateful for that.
So loud though.
It is very loud. It
So
is
loud.
It is
When
very
you're typing
loud.
in a code, your information.
Yeah,
clock,
it is.
Clock, 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 clock.
It's kind of comically loud. Yeah.
That's loud. PS5.
Silent.
Can't even hear it.
I
hear
do
Why is
like the
this X so
PS5
hard to
D-pad
get
better,
off?
yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Why is the battery part so hard to get off? I never use it, but never seems to come off.
D-pad any good for fighting games? I was actually playing some Mortal Kombat X, and was with just the Series X controller and having a great time.
Dude, they just announced the movie skins.
Oh, I
Yep.
just saw that trailer in
Yep.
Slack.
Yep.
Yes.
I posted that this morning, yeah.
Man, I haven't tried the Ultimate characters yet, and I'm interested in all of them. I got to do that.
I saw an interesting article. Somebody said that the Rambo is the definitive Rambo. it's like all Rambos put together. They're like
Yeah.
Okay.
it's not necessarily one movie. It's just kind of it's like this.
Right.
It's
Or
a
it's like
huge-
Terminator is like the
Right, yeah.
old Arnold. Yeah.
Well, the fact that it's Stallone voicing it is
Yeah.
just so
Mm.
great.
He was apparently cracking up while he was recording it.
I want to hang out with Stallone.
Yeah, sure, he's a good guy.
Okay, this is just a complete random tangent, but like the story of how he got Rocky made is just like
Yeah.
the best, most heartwarming story ever. If you're unfamiliar with
Yeah,
it, it's
Wrote it in 2 days.
amazing. Anyway, next question comes in from Danky Kang. Danky Kang.
Yankee King.
Howdy,
Love it.
allies. I recently started a new Be a Pro mode in NHL 20, and I decided to go with the Kitchener Rangers as my starting junior team. I was pleasantly surprised to discover that the name of one of my teammates was Riley Damiani, a real-life minor league hockey player who I'd never heard of. Not only does it look like he could be a distant relative of our own Michael Damiani, but
Oh.
upon further research, I discovered that he was drafted in real life by the Dallas Stars.
Oh,
This is
nice.
amazing. My question for you, Alex, do you have any memorable moments of seeing your name or the name of someone you know pop up in media, or perhaps important dates? I know I always look out for my birthday, whatever specific dates are mentioned.
Brad's dad was on the Oakland Athletics.
That's right.
Mark Ellis.
Mark Ellis. Yep.
Wow.
Bossman was one of the last names of one of the characters in Steep. It's like, what a random. Right, it wasn't Bozeman. It was Bosman.
I get a lot of, not a lot. Every so often, I'll get a tweet or someone telling me about the Damiani jewelry store and sending like a photo of like, hey, that.
I
Because
think I've sent you a photo of that before.
I think, I don't know if it's still like known or anything, but it got popular like in the late 90s. Whenever Brad Pitt proposed to Angelina Jolie, he got his ring there. They made a big media circus. And I remember seeing on TV, it's like, oh, Dad, do you own a jewelry store? He goes, no, it's not ours. It's like, oh, okay. Like, 'cause I was a little kid. I was like, all right, sure.
I remember when we were in Cologne, there was like a Damiano Italian restaurant or something that we sent you a photo of.
Yeah, there's a lot of Damianos with an O, and I get that. I'm like, no, it's I at the end. It's not exactly the same close.
My name is a little more rare, so I don't know if it's ever really happened, but I remember one time some kid in like middle school or high school, well, we had phones, so it must have been like late high school or college or something. Somebody was just like, they were like, lol, this is what you're gonna look like when you're older, and they showed me a picture, and I was like, well, that is my uncle. It's like actually my uncle. And I was like, possibly.
The only thing I get is really lame, and it's Benjamin Moore paints.
Oh,
And, like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think
Sometimes
of that every time I see one.
sometimes I'll have like somebody be like, Benjamin Moore, like the paint, and I'll just be like, no. That's it.
Oh, well, and we saw like in Omaha, there's like a Huber like car dealership, like big car dealer out there.
Nice.
Yeah, I see
Sell
Huber
those.
every so often.
I am surprised how many people have like my name though. They're like a shit ton of like Michael.
Oh
Damianis and
yeah,
stuff.
like yeah, for me there's like race car drivers and baseball players and stuff like that.
I think there's a Brandon Jones in every professional sport on the planet.
Oh yeah. 2 or 3.
At
probably.
least 6 in football, at least.
Next question comes in from Mo Grant. Hey allies, recently Sony dropped an ad with Michael B. Jordan playing the PS5, after which he followed it up with an Instagram post confirming his love of PlayStation and ended it saying that we got to figure out how to bring back Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Nice. And even replied to a tweet from Justin Wong listing his favorite fighters from the game. Well, he's been public about his nerdy side, as he's a known anime fan. There's something,
Loves it.
he put that in parentheses, and there's just something like,
Like secretive.
yeah,
about
like,
it.
ooh,
Love
he's an anime fan.
That's my
Taboo.
favorite aspect of anime fandom is that it's always like a taboo or something.
Yeah, I feel like
Sharingan.
people's appreciation of your love of anime differs depending on how intense your nerdiness is. Like, if you don't seem like you'd be an anime fan, if you've seen like 30 seconds of anime, people will freak out. But if you look like a super nerd, like the expectations rise considerably. Anyway,
Dude, Chiha car.
Right.
Chiha car. I saw it. It's real. Fucking Itachi on the side of the car.
Hell yeah, dude.
While he's been public about his nerdy side before, as he's a known anime fan, it was still cool to see these posts, especially as a fan of both his work and Capcom Fighters, and me thinking about how dope it would be to go a few rounds against him in MVC2. Which brings me to my question: if you can share one gaming experience with any celebrity, who would it be and what game? It can be competitive or co-op, or you could even choose to watch your chosen celeb do a let's play if you wish. Whatever you think would be the best experience for your celeb/game combo.
Dude, I'd want to play Remake with Guillermo del Toro.
Oh,
Yo.
that's
Oh,
great.
man,
That's a great
that's
Have
answer.
good
him
call.
like go off on gothic horror and like talk all about it.
Oh,
Silent Hill would be good for that too.
Infinity with Walt. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
He's dead, Brandon.
Well, still, well, with Walt's head.
Right.
Is it-
His cryogenically frozen head.
doesn't- Look, Walt, look.
I'd want to
like
play
what he's-
WoW
If you
with
put his
Henry
head on the
Cavill.
base, it brings Walt. I'm sorry, Brad, continue.
WoW with Henry Cavill, dude.
That'd be jolly. I know Lady Gaga's into Bayonetta, so I think that would be a fun
Mm.
playthrough.
Yeah.
D&D with oh geez, there are a lot of famous D&D people.
Vin Diesel.
Werewolf guy, Vin Diesel. Don't need to play with Vin Diesel.
The Rock.
You mean you're not gonna play Tekken with Vin Diesel?
No.
What's the Game Awards last year? They said Tekken instead of Tekken.
Oh,
Yeah, Tekken, yeah.
I thought this was like one of your Ryu things where I was like, have it said Tekken Ron now? Bloodworth?
Who's werewolf guy?
Werewolf guy. Married to Sofia Varaga.
Michael J. Fox, Teen Wolf.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox is married to Sofia Varaga. Chat, what's his name? You know who I'm talking about.
Is it the guy in the new Pee-wee movie?
It's
Was
like
it
Joe something,
Long
right?
Yellow or
Joe
something?
Manganiello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I
like a renowned D&D
Yeah.
guy.
He's in the new Pee-wee movie, and every time Pee-wee says, he's like, "Hi, Joe." Blah, 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 blah."
Mhm.
There's a new Pee-wee movie?
It's on
Yeah, it came
Netflix,
out
I
years
think. Yeah,
ago.
it's pretty,
Or a couple,
Oh,
maybe 2
yeah.
years ago.
pretty good. It's pretty good.
Vergara, right.
Our last question comes in from Joey Din. Your favorite video game villain and why? Yeah, I knew you were going there for sure.
Starts the game, ends the game. It's just a prick the whole time, and has like, and like, shout out to like his tower. Like he had like in the end of that game, he has this spot that you can just like you want just go fight him. You know, like so it's not like, oh, I got to go through this whole gauntlet just to get to where he is. It's like he has a big dungeon that you got to get through. But I just love that like when you're flying the airship, you just kind of fly by it, and you're like, 5 hours from now, I'm gonna beat you up.
Chat
And
saying
he's a clown.
Kate
Hit vibes.
Jackson
Hey,
is
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Well done.
He checked. Okay.
Did we ever figure that out? Did anybody ever Google that? Do we have any idea?
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure.
googled it. I
Guess?
googled
Oh,
it.
okay.
like
Uh,
who she
don't spoil
was?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
Wesker, obviously.
Classic,
I
yeah.
love his arc, dude.
Mm.
Just like freaking on your team, but a double agent and then a rogue third party. Just like his arc throughout that whole series, working in the shadows, like disappearing for some games and then coming back. So cool.
The
So
way
freaking-
he delivers lines is just so good. Yeah,
Mhm.
I
I
can't.
think this.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, you sound like you weren't done. You can go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I've two come to mind. One of them I can't say because it would ruin literally the entire game.
Sure.
But
Mm.
I'll just say Silent Hill 2, and if you know what
that,
I'm talking about,
That was mine.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking
And I
about.
was like, do I say it?
yeah.
Yeah.
The other one that
If
I
you
feel
know, you
like
know.
has maybe gotten a little less attention over the years, or that maybe that's just my perception. But I think Liquid Snake is an incredible villain.
Mhm. Great
Yeah.
villain.
The final fight where both of you are fucking fighting on top of Metal Gear with your shirts off is just amazing. Yeah.
Any villain that culminates in a shirtless fist fight, good stuff.
And the performance of him in that game is just so wonderful. Just really fun voice acting.
Similar to Silent Hill 2, I'll just say Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, good pick.
Sure.
Kinda.
Arthas is always a top one for me.
Oh, yes! Good call, Brad.
Top 10.
And
Yeah.
just classic is Ganon for me. It's
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
most classic villains ever.
That Warcraft 3 cutscene, where, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Shout out to Warhawk, I think on the PS1.
Oh, wow.
It has live action cutscenes, and there's the whole thing in Warhawk is this like red mercury is like the like kryptonite or whatever. It's like the energy source everybody's like fighting over, and there's this guy with like red tubes coming out of his face. And it's just classic, like Command and Conquer style. He's just like the power of red mercury, and it's just like you can see the red juice is just like coming in and out of his temples. I was like, this guy's fantastic.
Power of red.
Yeah, stays stuck with me for 20 plus years. Red mercury. Look those
Shang
up.
Tsung.
Yeah.
Shang Tsung.
Your
yeah.
soul is mine.
And I think really the value of Shang Tsung has only gone up after Aftermath, because he's like the best part of that expansion.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
What about
Man.
Shinnok though, Ben?
Shinnok can suck my balls.
There it is.
Yeah, I feel like I have a hard time coming. Like even like I'm just like looking through like games and stuff. And I'm like, man, what is the thing that like the villain that really resonates with me? Because I feel like there have been times when it's happened, but like other than what we've said, like there doesn't feel like a lot of them are really great villains. You know, like they're just kind of, you know, like Bowser is, you know, he's just a dragon guy. You know,
No.
Right.
Super
Dude,
Mario
come
RPG
on.
Bowser. Come
Come
on.
on.
Yeah,
not a villain in
Emotional
that.
depth in that?
The villain in the Pathless is heavily voice modulated, and he speaks like some random language. He's just like credits at the end. Troy Baker. Like what?
Like, just do it with a computer.
Yeah, an intern could have done that. What are you talking about? I mean, no, you know, shout out to Troy, but like, I laughed. I LOL'd, man. I was like, what? Come on.
I guess the Symphony of the Night Dracula is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Dracula.
What is a
classic
man?
villain?
Yeah.
All right. That is going to do it, I think, unless anybody else has anything they want to say, but I think that's going to do it.
Bison.
Nice.
Bison.
Bison.
And Bison, dude. Bison bucks.
The Pac-Man ghosts.
Psycho power.
Do you think Bison is better than Akuma?
I do.
Ooh, different
I like
vibes,
Bison
man.
more.
Yeah.
I feel like
Luca Bligh's pretty good.
Bison's just such a villain.
Akuma, or he just has like a more like evil presence to me than Bison.
Hey,
I
Haas.
think
straight
I would
evil.
go Akuma, because like he's just raging demon, man. It's
Just
like
looks awesome, dude.
fuck you, you're dead.
He's cooler, but to me, Bison is more of a villain.
Yeah,
He's like more of a
Akuma feels like it's his nature. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
some demonic nature, whereas Bison's like making an active choice.
World control guy.
Akuma
yeah.
is just like,
killing machine.
I'm gonna murder anyone at all times, always, just because it's what I do. Whereas Bison
Yeah.
is like, here is my objective.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. All right. That's going to do it for the November 2020 Q&A. This was super fun. Thank you to all of the allies that were here. It was nice that we got to have a lot more people than we had last month. And if you would like to send in a question on Patreon, go to patreon.com/easyallies, where you can sign up for the tier. We do this at the end of the month, every month. And yeah, that's it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.